Are you using the mic?
Oh, that's fine.
Take that way. Give it a little boost. Okay, just that. Right. That was just good.
I think it all worked.
Perfect.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Well, welcome everybody. All mystical beings present. Today we have a resident from the spiritual world, Karuna, direct from the land of Mathura Vrindavan. What is today's talk?
Today's talk is on discovering divine joy through sound.
He's prepared a very nice presentation. Or Hare Krishna, everyone. So my name is Karuna, and I would like to know the names. Linda. Leon.
Emily.
Thank you everyone for being here. And I'm so excited to share with you guys how to find sublime joy through sound. But I'm just thinking, I think my session is already over before I even started. It's such beautiful melodious kirtan sung by Emily. Thank you so much, Emily. It's like whatever I'm saying is just talk, but you actually put it in action. Very good. So the talk today has two parts. One is how sound affects us. Various kinds of sounds have various kinds of effects. And then there is focus on what are the benefits of chanting what we were just chanting now, chanting Hare Krishna. So these are the main two sections. And then there are some little subsections there. So we will see. But before I go into that, so there are two types of sounds. Very easy. One is a sound which is a soothing sound. Another sound is a disturbing sound. Very simple to understand. So, what is a soothing sound? So, it immediately calms you down, takes away your anxiety, your stress, whatever negativity you are going through, or you have, or you see, or you're influenced by. It is a sound, and actually, if it is a pure sound, that will touch the deepest corner of your soul. That's the good type of sound, that's the pure sound. The other sound is the disturbing sound. Hearing that, like no matter what mood you are in, you will be attracted towards, or you will be infected. I use the word infection. You will be infected towards negativity. And these are the sounds of like fighting, or yelling, or cursing, or anything which is negative, which has that emotion. So first is sound which uplifts us, and the sound which degrades us. Okay, two types of sound. Now, similarly, sound is we use sound to communicate, like how I'm communicating, right? And then we use this, then whatever I'm saying, I might write it down, and that's also like a form of sound. That's like my message. It's like also another form of communication. I write things down and I communicate. So even in written form also, there are two types of things. There are definitely things in between as well, but I'm more focusing on the good and the bad. Although in life there is never 0 and 1, there is always a gray area. But my focus is basically to highlight the goodness and the disturbing aspect. So in India, recently a movie was released in India. After seeing that movie, people, they invented so many new ways of doing smuggling and robbery and things like that. As soon as the movie was a big hit, it was a big blockbuster, and it just changed like the whole scene. At the same time, when I was hearing about this movie, which just came out recently, I remembered a small story which Mahatma Gandhi writes in his book. He says that when he was in 5th grade, he basically came across a drama where they were doing Ramayana. So Ramayana is a story of Lord Ram. Lord Ram is Supreme Lord who comes and does his pastimes. So it is a story. It's a story of God basically on this planet. So he sees that drama, and after seeing the drama, he's very inspired. So he goes and buys a book, and then he reads the book. So Gandhi says that it was because by reading this book, Ramayana, that he found his values and morality, and he was able to lead an ideal life, and which we definitely know that he changed the world for good. So this is what we are talking here, that how sound, or even when we communicate like messages, they can actually have such a profound effect. So today we'll see the power of sound vibration. Then we'll see the scriptural references of like how sound vibrations are so powerful, specifically the mantra we chant. The third thing, we'll see scientific research about specifically the chanting which Emily was doing, or the mantra we chant. And the last one is, what are the benefits of chanting that mantra? So let's go one by one. Power of sound vibration. So there is this study where I'll talk about 2 studies, and I'll also talk about a story. This study was done somewhere in Australia, where what they did is that they took water, and they had like 4 containers of water, and they were basically bombarding the containers in an isolated fashion with different kinds of sounds. So the first container had like very soothing music. So if you go to YouTube, there are a lot of like sounds which you can use to sleep or go into trance or like meditate, those kind of sounds are there. There are also Vedic mantras. We'll see what mantra is. Their sounds are also there. Then there are also like the regular songs which we hear. There are like pop songs and rap and hip hop and whatnot, heavy metal. And then there are sounds which are negative sounds, which I explained earlier. So what these people did, that when they were freezing the water, they were basically making sure that water is exposed to only that kind of sound till the time water is frozen. So interestingly, what they found, a very nice deduction through experiment, they saw that purer the sound, the more symmetric the crystals of water were when they became ice. Impure the sound, the crystals were very distorted. So if you know, when water freezes, it makes crystals. So it was very distorted. They did the same thing with plants. So they saw the plants which had like access to like good sounds, growing and was having flowers and fruits, while the plants which was affected by negative sound started to die. So this is about water and this is about plants. So what about us? We are considered more sentient than plants and than water. So if we are in close proximity, if we are always absorbing various kinds of sounds, we have to know that what effect that sound is going to have. So we have seen in this world that revolutions have been created just by sound. People like Martin Luther King gave a great speech, a great leader, but with his sound, he was able to move the masses. Sound invokes emotions. And this was the case study which I was talking to you about. So this one is about the plant. The plant one they did in Auroville, India. There is a place called Pondicherry. It's a spiritual place. People go there and have retreats, and that's where they did this case study on plants. So I was talking about mantra. So what is a mantra? So before I go into that, any one of you, because I know this is soul talks, and we talk about soul. So I'm pretty sure you may have heard about this word mantra. So anyone?
This is primarily based on sound vibration.
Okay, it's primarily based on sound vibration. Leon says that. I'm sorry, I forgot your names. Les, welcome, Leslie. So, Jigyasa? Any one of you? Linda, what do you think about what is mantra?
It's like a devotion. It's like a prayer.
It's a prayer?
In a song form, like a chanting form, like a like a devotional prayer, basically.
A devotional prayer.
Yes.
Any other thoughts on what mantra is? We got two very nice, interesting thoughts which are correct.
It's a literal translation of the word means.
He's saying literal translation of the word means controlling the mind. And
We use this to like control the mind, connect to something like.
we use this to control the mind to access something higher. Well, let's see. You guys are correct, but then I have a definition as well. So man basically means mind. Tra means to deliver. So mantra, something which delivers the mind, or to deliver the mind. So deliver the mind from what? So it's like mind is. I've heard from some teachers of mine. They say that mind is like an exasperated monkey, always like jumping up and down, like hyperactive. That's how the mind is, always distracted. Say you have a deadline coming up in your workplace, and you really need to like put all the focus and you need to work. And at the same time, when you start to work and you have everything set, you have a clean environment, you have the time, you have access to whatever resources you need to complete that work, you have everything. And like slowly, you see that you start observing other things which are not necessary. Say your phone buzzes that way, and then your mind goes to the phone, and then you see a message, and then you get so engrossed in that message that you forget that this was my time specifically for this task. So we get distracted. We are driving, we can get distracted. Anything we are doing in life, we can get distracted. That's the nature of the mind. To distract, to always give thoughts. Various thoughts. That's what mind does. And mantra basically helps the mind free of all these distracting thoughts. It helps the mind to focus. So tra comes from the word trayate. It's a Sanskrit word, means deliverance. Deliverance from what? Basically, scriptures say deliverance from three things. They say lust, anger, and greed. Now, when I say lust, it doesn't mean the kind of lust which you might think. It's more than that. Lust basically means an exploitative nature. That, wherever I am, in whatever situation I am, how I can enjoy or benefit the most, irrespective of the other person or the object or whatever. So that's a broader definition of lust. And then no need to define greed and anger. And they're not good for us, for sure. For example, if some person X has diabetes and he's not supposed to be eating, say, sweets, and he comes to our temple and we have a lot of sweets there in the temple hall. And then some fine devotee goes and offers, please have some sweets. And that person says, okay, 1 and 2 and 3, and then says, you can give me all, like it's so nice. But then the one sense is to honor it, and the other sense is to take more than what's necessary. And it depends for every person, it's different for everyone. And that's right. And then anger, definitely anger is very destructive. So I say this is lag. If we have these three things in life, we lag in life. It's L, A, and G. We lag in life. So mantra, and this is any mantra, generally, they will help you control the mind and focus the mind. So, any questions here on mantra? Okay. So now people do mantra meditation. Like what Emily was doing in the beginning of the program is mantra meditation. So this kind of mantra meditation was like she was singing loudly, it was call and response. In other places, there can be some mantra meditation where you sit and you can just hear yourself, or maybe the person sitting next to you can hear yourself. And same Hare Krishna mantra. There can be other kind of meditation where you chant some different mantra. People chant different mantras for different things. So you focus the mind, and then wherever you want to go or whatever you want the mind to do, you basically do that kind of mantra meditation. So yes. So if I'm sitting and I'm chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and I speak slowly, and it's only I'm only able to hear it and all that. It is yoga meditation. And yes, the congregation, Sankirtan thing, we already did in the beginning. So mantra is like the medicine, but I wanted to just add one more thing because of this. We are talking about mantra. I want to talk about mandir. So temple in Sanskrit is known as mandir. Again, man is the mind, and dir comes from the word riyate. Dir means a place where you feel calm, where you come and you relax. Your soul is relaxing, or it becomes calm. It becomes grounded. Like it's a place of rest. So, for example, if someone is sick, they go to a medical center. So, when the mind is agitated, generally people go to mandir to chant mantra. So, mantra is the meditation, and mandir is the sacred space where you go and you feel the peace, you feel the vibrations. So, that's mandir. So, let's look at some scriptural references. So, scriptural references we are seeing on the processes of self-realization. So, before I go there, I would like to know, as we are in soul talks, can you guys tell me some qualities of the soul? Anything, whatever comes to your mind. It's infinite. It's happy. Okay, soul is happy by nature. Conscious, yes.
It's like the observer.
Okay, soul is an observer. Suzanne? The question is, can you tell some qualities of the soul? Like bliss. Wants to serve. Personal. Pure.
I think so. I don't know if somebody said eternal.
What is
Eternal.
eternal. Okay. Connected to the divine. Okay. So let me just summarize everything. So all the things you said, they are true. But intrinsically, the most important qualities are basically three. And because I'm here giving this talk to you, I will add my fourth quality here. But basically, scripturally, it is only three qualities. The soul is Sat, Chit, and Anand. So Sat means eternal, as Linda said. So it's always existing. And that's why, my dear friends, we have this innate desire to always look young or always live and be disease free and physically good. We always want to exist. That is Sat feature. The thing is that because we are in this artificial concept of life that we have this machine, this body is there on top of the soul, and the machine is matter, and anything which is matter basically is not eternal. It changes. We are changing. Our body is changing every single moment, but the soul never changes, and that's why a secondary thing of soul is that we as a people, we don't like changes unless and until we are fully planned about that change. We don't like changes in life because that soul is unchanging. That's our nature. Soul is eternal. That's our nature. That's why we want to live. That's why people write. One of my favorite songs is like "Forever Young" from the 1980s. Nice song, and it's true. That's the actual craving of the soul. Now, chit is the knowledge feature of the soul. Some people are really nerds about whatever like thing they read. If they are into Marvel comics, DC, or say scriptures, or like science, or current affairs, anything. That is the chit feature. Welcome, Sarab. So that is the chit feature. And then the next one is Anand feature. Anand means happiness, as one of you said, and then bliss. So why are we always seeking happiness? Is because that's what we have actually. It's just that in this moment, because we are under illusion or we identify with the body, we think we are the body. We just forget that we have so much bliss within us. So Sat, that is eternal. Chit means knowledge. Knowledge means not knowledge of every single thing. Knowledge means whatever knowledge we need. Because we all are craving some or the other knowledge. And Anand means bliss. Anyone takes up to the spiritual path, some or the other have one of these three things that they really want to know. And then there are subservient intrinsic qualities of the soul also. One of the most important one is, which I was going to add as per my purpose, is serving others. Because we are always looking for pleasure. So whenever you give pleasure to the body, that pleasure doesn't last long. So if I'm hungry and I get the best food, whatever I like, I would like it, but only for a certain period of time. After that, once I'm full, I'm like good for now. Then maybe next time. But my pleasure is over. Say if I want to touch something very soft, I may go and like touch a very nice throw and feel good about it. But after some time, I'll be like bored with it. Touch is gone. But then higher level of pleasure would be mental pleasure, where people you are creating something, you are expressing yourself in the form of an art, or you are playing video games or something, some kind of mental pleasure. And then higher than that is serving other people. That lasts the longest, but only on the material plane. Now through spirituality, through this mantra, through sound vibration, we can actually unlock that potential inside us and we can access that bliss. So much bliss, that you will not have words to actually express what you experience. So in every age, there are some processes of unlocking that potential, of actually realizing. So now maybe theoretically we are talking we are the soul, but it's very hard to realize. And if we practice spirituality, if we practice a certain path, like we are here at the Bhakti Center, most of the devotees or people here practice Bhakti. By doing that, you are on a journey so that you can tap into or you can realize that you are the soul. So the Bhakti is a process which is in every age. But mantra meditation, especially what we do, Hare Krishna, is specifically for this age in which we live. But in other ages, so there are various yogas. I don't know if you have heard about it, but in the Vedic philosophy, they generally see time as a cycle. Time is cyclical. It's not linear. And the first, it's divided into 4 parts. They are not equal. The first part is known as Satyuga. The second part is known as Treta Yuga. The third one is Dwapar Yuga. And last one is Kali Yuga. No need to remember the names, but the 4 ages. And in the first Yuga, there are a lot of trees and plants, and there's no pollution, there's no technology. People generally live very long life. They are more healthy. The most common and most popular way of realizing oneself is through meditation on the super soul. In Treta Yuga, people, what they do for realizing themselves, they do yajnas. Yajna means sacrifices. So there are various types. Sacrifice basically means, can someone say what sacrifice means? Any. Sir, what does sacrifice? Sorry if I'm
Giving up something.
Giving up something. Yes, sacrifice means you give up something for some higher. I will sacrifice my sleep so that I can study more because next day is my exam. So we make some certain sacrifices in various phases of our life. So this is a Vedic sacrifice in which you are giving up your resources and desires for the satisfaction of higher powers. Then in Dwapar Yuga, deity worship. So if you go down on the third floor of Bhakti Center, then you will see there is these three beautiful statues. We don't call them statues or idols, we call them deities. Now that can be a separate session, why we call them deities and not statues and idols. I will not go into that. But we basically worship them. So worshipping them is known as deity worship. And the age in which we live, known as Kali Yuga. So it's not Kali, it is Kali. In this, the easiest way, because we don't have time, like all of us. It's like we want things quickly. If any video is more than a minute long or 2 minutes long, we don't even care of like looking at the whole thing. We might not even click on it. But something is 10 seconds, 15 seconds, we go there, we see it, and then we move on because we want things quick. This is a different age. In this age, that's why they're not talking about meditation. Although I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm not saying that fire sacrifices will not work or deity worship will not. But the easiest one, which is prescribed for this age, is chanting of the holy names, which we did or we generally do whenever we start soul talks. So let's see what major religions say about chanting. So in Christianity, they say, "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name." In Islam, they chant the sacred names of Allah. In Sikhism, they say in the morning that we should chant the names of God. In Buddhism, also, they chant the names of Buddha. So if you see, these major religions are there, and they may look different, the faiths may look different, but at the core, some of the teachings, or I should say the basic teachings or foundational teachings are the same. And chanting has been stressed. So in Sanatana Dharma, so you are here now, and Hinduism, I don't know if ever we discussed that is a Hinduism or a Sanatana Dharma. Did we ever discuss it in Soul Talks? Okay. So generally, if you see anyone from India and they worship Ram or Vishnu or Krishna, if you have heard these names, they are known as like Hindus. So this is the word was given to them by the people who used to go and trade there in those lands. And because it was beyond a certain river, which was known as Sindhu, and they were not able to pronounce S, so they started saying Hindu. So everyone beyond that river was Hindu. So that's how the people got the name Hindu. But it's a lifestyle. And the name of the religion, actually I'll not say it's religion, but the name of the people of that place, what they practice is known as Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana means eternal, Dharma means definitely Dharma does not translate to religion, because religion comes from the word religio, it's based on faith, and your faith can change. But Dharma is something which can never change. It is intrinsic to you. So, like the qualities of the soul. So our Dharma, what is intrinsic to us is to serve. So wherever we are, if we are doing business, so we are serving our client. There is an exchange, but there is that's the service. If we are in the temple and we do some volunteer service, we go to an NGO, we do any kind of service to anyone. We are in a relationship, we serve the other person and we receive service back. We have children, we serve the children and children serve us back. So there is an exchange of seva, of service. That's the I should say, that's the intrinsic nature. That is the dharma. So in Sanatana Dharma, they say that in this age of Kali, we should chant the holy names of God. So let's see some scriptural references specifically on the mantra which we chant. Because time is less, so I'm not going into the beach mantras and other sound vibrations, but I'm open to discuss them after the session. So this is from Kali Santara Upanishad. It says Hare Krishna, which we were chanting. And then the next last 2 lines says Iti Shodashakam Namanam Kali Karmasa Nashanam Nata Paratanyopaya Sarva Vedeshu Dashyate. So after searching through all Vedic literature, one cannot find a method of religion more sublime for this aid than chanting of Hare Krishna. So Vedic literatures are vast. There are so many books in the Vedic literatures. One of the books named is Kali Santara Upanishad. Now Kali is basically for this age of Kali. Santaran, so it is, if you divide into 2 parts, Santa means those who are, I should say, good people, those who are trying to perfect their life, those who are seeking self-realization. They are known as a Santa. And Taran means to deliverance. Or I should say, in this particular context, it means to swim across. So the book which helps you swim across this cycle of birth and death, this ocean of material world. Then there are more scriptural references. The Naam Sankirtan of Hare Krishna Mahamantra delivers a complete revelation of all spiritual reality. It's from Brahmanda Puran. Then some more. That's from Bhagavatam. Kalir Dosha Nidhe Rajan Asti Devo Mahanaguna Kirtana Deva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha. My dear king, although Kali Yuga is full of faults, there is still one good quality about this age. It is simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to transcendental. And then the next shloka is from Narayan Samhita. It says, in the age of Kali, people should simply chant the holy names of Supreme God. Then there are more. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavatam again. So that was so far scriptural references about chanting of Hare Krishna and power of sound vibration. Now let's see some scientific research about chanting. So there is this research by this fellow known as David Wolf. He did a research on effects on stress, depression of people who basically chant. So he basically first did research on people who were chanting various Vedic mantras, and then in order to have like a proper experiment, he took 1,000 students who were chanting Hare Krishna, and then he came up with some nice things. So before we go there, let's just see this video.
Spiritual disciplines recommend meditational practices such as silent meditation, silent recitation of mantras, and also the verbal repetition of specific mantras out loud. A clinical test of the benefits of mantra chanting was performed on 3 groups of 62 subjects, males and females of average age 25. They chanted the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra 25 minutes each day under strict clinical supervision. Results showed that regular chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra reduces stress and depression and helps reduce bad habits and addictions. These results formed a PhD thesis at Florida State University.
So you already heard what the research concluded. So I will not explain that, and we'll go to the next slide just to save time. So this was the research outcomes. So if you can see, there was a decrease in depression, decrease in stress, and increase in sattva. Sattva means mode of goodness. Means basically you are more disciplined, regulated. Your mind is more controlled. If you decide that tomorrow at 6 o'clock I'll go out for a walk, and then I want to do this as a habit every single day, then that habit will last. And you'll be able to keep your resolutions more firmly. You'll be more strong-willed. So now let's go.
What they do for the alternative mantra? Like I saw this like a alternative mantra.
Yes.
Yeah, I just kind of curious what they did, and it looked like they had like a negative effect. It was like in the first.
No, that was for the group which was not chanting.
Okay.
I'll come to that. Let me just finish this. So maybe this is a slide which we might. So it says basically that scientists have seen that any kind of mantra chanting, any kind of Vedic mantra chanting specifically, you do that, then you are in this wave frequency range of 8 to 13. It's known as a relaxed alert zone. Anything above that is the active zone. We generally call it as passionate zone. So if you are in that, you can be very productive. But if you continue being in that zone, then you may lead to exhaustion. And then there is hyperactive zone, definitely not good. Then there is a drowsy zone between 3 to 8, and then there is a sleepy zone. So, for example, people who have, I read it, I'm not an expert on this topic, but people who have ADHD, they are generally people who are above 18. So this is like one way of looking at it, benefits of chanting Hare Krishna in a scientific way. But other things which happen after chanting Hare Krishna, let me tell you. One is mantra, means you control the mind, right? As you guys were saying. So let me tell you a story. So in old times in India, somewhere in India, there was this man. And he had a lot of desires, big ambitions. And he was born in a very poor family. And recently I was talking to a friend, and that friend said that poverty does not attract wealth. It's very hard to attract wealth through poverty. Wealth attracts wealth. And this man, because he was poor, born in a poor family, didn't have many resources, was trying very hard, but things were not manifesting. Then someone told him that I have heard that if you go to the forest, there is this sage who is a perfected being who helps people with his mystic powers. But generally, on the path of spirituality, there are various paths, various lineages, and they say that by practicing various meditations, by chanting various mantras, if you are consistent in your practice, you basically develop mystic powers. So there was this perfect being who was just doing social service, was just there. He was happy in his own trance by doing meditation, and when people would come, he would help them with whatever he had, mystic powers. So he goes into the forest looking for this man, travels for many days, doesn't find anyone. Those were the days when there were many more jungles and more wildlife, and it was dangerous to be out there. Somehow he's surviving. After like 6-7 days of traveling in the forest, he comes across this hermit, sage. And the sage is really absorbed in his meditation. So he wanted to be respectful. So he didn't go and he said, hey brother, I have come here for help or whatever. He just waits. And then after a few hours, this person opens his eyes. The sage opens his eyes. And this man basically says, oh dear sage, I have traveled for 7 days from this far off city, and I have so many desires. I have these ambitions. I cannot sleep at night, and somehow I feel that the providence or destiny has been unfair. And I'm doing things, but I'm not getting the success I want in life. Sage says, okay, so how can I help? And he says, just give me the key of how to be always successful. Or just help me that I fulfill all my desires. And this sage, what he does is that he says, okay. And he basically manifests a big, giant, beastly being, a beast. Looking human, but still not human. Huge, gigantic figure. And he says, he is here, he will serve you. Whatever you want, he will get it done. Say your desire, and he will say, yes, my dear master. and he will just get it done. But remember, he needs to be always engaged. Do you have enough desires? And the man said, yes, I have oceanic amount of desires. So many things I want to do in life. I want to travel, I want a nice house, I want houses in many, many cities, I want various, those days they didn't have cars, but I want elephants and horses. And he said, I want horses from the Middle East, like Turkey and other areas. And I want this special silk cloth from this place. I want sandalwood. And though those days the trade was not so frequent. So various parts of the world were rich in various other resources. And it was difficult to get every single resource. And he was like, yeah, it's like for me to just do that, many lifetimes would take. All my desires being fulfilled. And then I want to marry that particular girl I like, but I don't have money and blah, blah, blah. So he basically takes this being and then goes to the city. And being was wisdom. So he would only be seen by this man as the sage. It was not visible to the eyes of the other people. So he goes to the city and tells the being, hey, I have to start this business. Help me, I need these resources so that I cut down on my raw material cost. And the being goes and gets the raw material. Then he says, okay, I need this much money, but I don't have any money. He goes and gets some money. Those days they used to trade in gold and silver, so he got a lot of gold coins. And then he says, okay, I need to buy land. And land is bought, and then a house is built, and a warehouse is built, and then a whole estate basically comes across. And then he says, I need a staff, and then there are a lot of staff of this person. And then for maintaining the real estate, like the whole estate, he has more people. And then he goes and marries someone, and then it was always increasing. He was saying, do this, do that. Many years passed, actually. And he was coming to a point that this person would feel stressed. Welcome, guys. May I know your names?
She
She.
Vishal.
Well,
Thank you.
we are in the middle of a story. So now this man who has this beast in his control and who is fulfilling all his desires one by one, many years have passed by. Now he has children. And children are like teenagers, adults. And this man is like, whenever he would see the beast, he would feel stressed. Because he said, I have to engage this person. Why? Because once fine detail I did not tell you in the beginning when the beast came to the man, the person said that he needs to be always engaged. If you don't engage him, he will eat you up. And the man was very confident that I have unlimited desires. But now so many years have passed and he has seen the world, he has got it all, he has figured it out, he has everything. Everything. And now he's just stressed. What to do with this person? How to engage this thing? And he would give silly jobs. Go and buy a sack of potatoes. Go and do this, do that. It was and it was getting frustrating. One point came in his life when he was in his 50s that he said, I just can't take this. And this beast would appear and say, Master, what next? What next? Like that. Very pushy. And this person's like, I just can't even look at the face of this being. I can't even hear these sounds. I'm going crazy. He runs in the forest. And those days, and even now, very few spiritual people are there who live a very, very long life. Those days they were more easily found, common people. Nowadays it's very hard, but they are still there. So he goes and now he's running 3 days. He finds the guy. And the beast is behind him. Master, what next? What next? And this time again the sage is in trance. He says, I need your help, and he shouts and yells. No, this being will eat me up, he'll kill me. I have only one desire, I just want to live. Just leave me alone. And this being was still behind. What next? He would always stand, and what next? Next he would say, and then come closer, and then closer, and then closer. So the sage opens his eyes, he sees man perplexed and so scared to death. And the man was certain, he was sure as death about death. Now my time is up. Because I signed the deal. It was like signing a deal with the devil. So I'm done. That's the catch. But then the sage says, it's okay, like calm down, like take a chill. It's fine. And the sage basically says, I cannot say anything to this beast because now he belongs to you. But maybe you can just say a desire and that desire can help you. He says, okay, tell me what desire. Like I've sent him to like even go and mine diamonds from Africa. And I've sent him to like places in the world, like to Russia to mine gold. And he has been always back. He's so fast and quick. I don't know what to do. And the sage says, just ask him to build a ladder. He says, what a ladder will do? Like, can't you just like see he's about to eat me up? You want him to like at least tell me to like go and circle the globe so that when he comes back, at least we have like a day or so. But he says, no, just ask him, just trust me. And this being was like coming on him like next. So he says, okay, build a ladder. He builds a ladder. And then the sage says, okay, now tell him to climb the ladder. So he climbs the ladder. And then the beast says, what next? Then he says, come down the ladder. He came down the ladder. Then the sage said, just tell him. He keeps on going up and down, and up and down, and up and down, till the time you have next desire. And he says that, and it was like eureka moment, like wow. And the beast is in control. He had a desire to see beast go up, and then beast come down, and then go up, and then come down, and then again go up, and then again come down. The beast is going up and down, and up and down, and up and down. And this man is so relieved. He says, I think I have found the real truth. This is like the self-realization moment for me. I saved my life. And it only happened because of you. Thank you so much, my dear sage. And then the sage said, that you came to me telling me that you were unfortunate or whatever was not working in your life. And you were accounting all the things which were against you. And I just manifested what was always there with you. I just gave you the key how you can control that. And that's your mind. So this beast is basically the mind. If you can control your mind, if you can put your mind to something, I think it will always like happen. If you have a list of things, you want to finish that in like 4 days or 5 days, you get it done. If you can control the mind, you can do 4 things at the same time. Possibilities are endless. The most highly successful people actually are multitaskers who do so many things at the same time. Or at least they are really good, successful people are really good at whatever they do because their mind is in control. They are focused. By chanting, by this mantra meditation, you guys can control your mind. We can control our mind. And then we can do whatever we want. We can achieve whatever we want. But that's not what we are here. To be highly successful, I'm not a life coach here. We are telling you how to be successful in life. We are here in soul talks. We are talking about the soul. And in order for us to go inside and realize that we are spirit souls, in order for us to feel that love, to feel that content, feel that bliss, feel that satisfaction, or feel that peace, whenever we want, to never feel distracted or affected by fear, depression, anxiety, loneliness, or whatever negativity is there. Mantra meditation helps. And not only that, it takes us even beyond. So another good effect, we talked about the scientific research about depression and other things which we saw in the previous slides. Then I spoke about the mind, and now I'm telling you guys about being away from all these negative things. But there is much more to it. What is that? So all of us, I don't know, have we ever talked about karma here? We have. Okay, so what is karma? Don't tell me karma is that's very popular and common. One friend of mine, she has a she-dog, and the name is Karuna. They love. It's very, very adorable. Husky. but we're not talking about that. What have you heard here about Karuna? Anything comes to you?
It's like a system where you do something, whether it's like good or bad, and that kind of follows you later. So you experience the consequences of it.
Okay, good or bad, and then you face the consequences. Anything else? Karma?
Cause and effect.
Cause and effect. Okay. Ignace? Consequences. Action and reaction. Anything more information you would like to give me about them? More than action and reaction consequences.
Over lifetimes, so that we're creating.
Okay, over lifetime. So that's the concept of reincarnation here involved. And then
We're experiencing our karma from past, this life or past life.
okay. Let me tell you another story. Shall I tell you another story? Or you want me to show some other videos and scientific research? Okay. Sorry guys, I really bored you, I guess. Okay. So long ago, again, I'm from India. Sorry, I just get all of my stories from India. Next time I'll be better prepared. So long ago in India, there was this scholar, and he was a Brahmin. So now in India, I don't know if you've heard about it or not, but there's like a caste system there, and they say the society is divided, blah blah blah. In the ancient times, it was basically the kind of work you do. That's basically who you are. So if you are a politician, you are a politician. It's like that's your caste. If you are a teacher, then you are a teacher. That's your caste. If you are a doctor, you are a doctor. So various occupations would determine the caste. So Brahmin people were the people who would be the selfless people, who would not do things for profit, like the non-profit guys. And they might be in the field of like astrology or medicine, like Ayurveda or yoga, or just teaching various sciences of how to do things. Like they would know how to do business, but they would not make do business. They will get students, they will teach them, and those people will go and they would get satisfaction just by serving with like minimalism. But in order for you to have that kind of occupation, they were also supposed to have certain qualities. One of the qualities of a Brahmin is that he is always truthful, or she is always truthful. So, but so many other qualities, always clean, lot of tolerance, lot of patience. And you might just think like my ideal partner, maybe all the qualities, whatever you can think in my partner. But that's a Brahmin. And the word Brahmin comes from Brahma iti janati, so Brahmana means one who was Brahma. Brahma means the spirit matter or the soul. One who knows the soul is like that. I'm giving you in a very layman's language. There is a more detailed definition to it. But one who understands spirituality is a Brahmin. So he's supposed to be truthful, right? Stick to your values. So this Brahmin was there, and then he was walking, and he got tired in the jungle, and then he sat under a banyan tree. Banyan trees are like big, thick trees growing here. They live for thousands of years. So he sat under one under thick shade, and it was at crossroads. And then he saw that how many minutes do I have? 10. Okay. So now he's at crossroads, and then he sees that a cow is running and is bleeding. Basically, a cow running, bleeding towards the direction of this person, and then goes in one particular direction. And then behind that cow, there is another person who comes afterwards, after a few minutes. And he says that, my dear Brahmin, where did the cow go? I'm chasing the cow. And I'll not give you the background story because there are a lot of details here. But basically, he was just basically, what should I say, kind of like a sadist person, and just inflicting unnecessary pain for no purpose. That was his idea. So he was just behind. I just say like the butcher, not in the term like the butcher, but so he was just. He said, "Where is the cow?" Now this Brahmin said, "What should I do? I feel the guy is shady, sketchy, and he has a weapon. And I think if I direct this person towards the cow may not survive. And as a Brahmin, my dharma is to serve everyone, keep people happy. I think I should save the animal." While then in his mind there was another voice which came again the mind, right? Thoughts. You are a Brahmin. You are supposed to uphold the qualities of a Brahmin. You are supposed to be truthful. Will you lie and break your vow of truthfulness? Will you not stick to your values? So he was in a dialogue. And in this dilemma, he just got very confused. And ultimately, he gave in towards keeping the values, his values. And he didn't want to even say because he knew what would happen. He just raised his like left hand and he just said like this direction, go in this direction. And the guy goes there, no need to say, this guy goes and butchers the cow, and that's it. And it was just an act of like violence, nothing after that. He just wanted to just butcher, that's it. This Brahmin's life is over, he dies. Now, fast forward many hundreds of years or maybe decades. A cute little Brahmin is going to a village, goes and basically begging for alms because again, non-profit, right? You seek donations and then you do the greater good, seeking donations from people, going, knocking the door, please help me, I'll help you. Whole day he's helping out people with like all medicines, everything. Everybody's very happy, we are visited by a learned person who's helping us. And in the night, he says, I thought that I would leave early so that I would go to the next village where I have my accommodations. But I think it's getting dark and I don't want to travel to the forest. So he goes and knocks at one door and he says, "Can I please just have us can you guys allow me to have a sleepover tonight?" And he says, "Yeah, fine. Okay." So they had like a veranda or like a porch in the front and in the main house. So they said, "You can stay in the outside area." And then they fed him and everything happened. It was only a couple living in that house and it's fine. At around midnight, so people generally, as how in suburbs here in the US, they sleep early and you have early dinner. Similarly, they also sleep early. So everybody's sleeping. Midnight, the lady comes out. The lady says, "I'm so impressed from you. You have fulgence. You are very attractive. I would like to enjoy it. I am really attractive." And she says, "Let's go to the forest and just do what we want. Like, please fulfill my desire. And you're a Brahmin, right? Again, not perfect. Like, help me." And he was like, "This is against my values." He says, "Matravat Paradaresh," means I see I've already married, and then I see any other person's woman as a mother, and then your husband is also married. I just find this very wrong. I'm sorry." He just says, "I'm sorry, I just cannot do this. Please." She says, "I'm warning you. Either you help me what I want, or you will face the consequences, like karma, right?" He says, "Come on, what consequences? Like, I didn't do anything. Only thing I'm sleeping here. I immediately leave outside your house." She says, you are really pissing me off. Again, I'm asking one last time. And he says, please, I beg you, I'm leaving." And he was packing his things. She goes inside and there was a scream. And then people come outside the house. And she starts yelling and shouting and she tears the cloth apart and says, "This man was trying to force himself upon me. And in that endeavor, he went and killed my husband. And the husband was dead." and everybody is so shocked. And this woman was crying, 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 and they didn't know what to do. The whole and in those days, because Brahmin were doing such nice work, it was against the law to punish a Brahmin, to kill a Brahmin. Generally, otherwise, law for life, there is a life. Like that's how they used to settle matters back then. So they said we cannot kill this man, but this is he not only killed, but he was also like he was first forcing himself on an innocent woman and then killing. He is a thief, he's a murderer, and we don't know what he gave us as medicines. Maybe he would loot all of us. This is a threat to the whole village. And then say, but we cannot kill. That's against the law. Then they say, cut his hand. From the hand, he basically stabbed her. And that's his punishment. Sorry for all the graphics and the brutality. I will finish it very quickly. But basically, then they ask the woman, how did he stab? He says, with his left hand, he went and he stabbed. So the guy, without even thinking, they chop his left hand. And this Brahmin is crying and like, I've never done anything bad in my life to anyone. His faith is shaken. Why is this happening to me? He just runs from that place. Ultimately, goes, sits down, calms down. He remembers all the teachings he had. He understood there is some higher meaning to it. That is spirituality. That disturbing things happen, challenges, obstacles come in our life, but we stick to our foundation of spirituality. He heard a lot of soul talks, so from his teachers. So he meditated, and then he got a dream, and the dream was the first story which I told. So in his previous life, he was the Brahmin who showed his left hand, and then the karma came. And they say, again, I'll not go into details because we have to open for questions. I'm beyond my time. But they say that the woman was the cow and the butcher was the husband in the previous life. So that's how karma. So my point which I was making here is sometimes in our life, whatever karma you are doing, it will manifest, some of it will manifest now, and some of it will manifest in the next life, some of it will manifest 5 lifetimes from now, an act of good which you do now. So just think like you have made like a dough, and then you make small balls out of it to make pizza out of it. So various life that you reap the fruits. And it's good and bad always mixed, because if all the bad comes suddenly, we just can't live. So it's always a mixture of good and bad. By chanting of the holy names, we can remove the bad and only keep the good. And with that, I end my talk. And thank you so much for tolerating. We have questions or no questions?
We're way over time for questions.
3 minutes?
How about this? How about we feel like one question and you keep your answer tight, and then we'll be able to talk more and ask more questions.
Okay. Anyone has any questions?
I'm curious. Well, it's not a short question.
You two should talk afterwards.
Yeah. Okay. So if there are no questions, I assume that everything is extremely clear.
Would you lead our closing kirtan?
Sure.
So the last 15 minutes we do kirtan, and then we started with kirtan, we end with kirtan. If you leave that, and then we'll close on.
Okay. Thank you. Please. So we'll have call and response. We'll chant this mantra: Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. I'll sing and then you respond, and I'll again sing and you respond.
Thank you so much, Karuna. Thank you so much.